welcome to Lights on LA. I'm your host, Louise Gill, and I am here today with Lisa Raggio from YWCA. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It seems like forever that I've been here, but it's been a month.
Right.
And there is so much going on at the YWCA. First of all, give us a little background of your position here with the YWCA.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us to talk about our organization. I am the Senior Director of Community Services, Development, and Communications for the YWCA Glendale, and I came here about a year and a half ago. However, I came to this facility as a young person many times in my youth for swim lessons, for dance lessons, for use in all parts of the building, and I actually only knew the organization by its street level. Never knowing that there was a basement, never knowing that there was a
I didn't either. I thought this building was extremely small from the outside, but having a tour, in which we will be taking in a little bit, it is huge, and you have so much going on.
It is huge, and we're very happy to say that we are in a revival period, I would say. Our organization is 87 years old.
Wow.
And it formed in 1926, and its history is that there's about 15 prominent women in the community that wanted a place to go regularly. And at that time in 1926, they were able to go 1 day a week for 1 hour.
Oh, wow.
And after a while, they got a little fed up, and so they decided to form the YWCA. Now, the YWCA USA and nationally has a history of over 155 years. So its birthing came in London, England, but when it started here, it was in New York. And it was really a support system for women and children. The YWCA nationally was the first, it's the oldest women's organization in our country. And it also was the first to identify domestic violence. It also was the first to teach on-the-job training for single women. They were the first to actually offer typewriting for women so they could get jobs.
Typewriting? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're talking about the 1870s, 1880s. And they were the first also to move forward social justice issues in support of women and children. They were the first to have a house for unwed mothers. So and those were all things done before 1900. And then what we've seen in the last century is they really were a part of, let's say, the civil rights movement. At the forefront of their mission has been to eliminate racism, and it still is. So our current national mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. And we have dealt with mostly social justice issues historically, and also ways in which we can empower our women and children. We currently have now a little over 200 YWCAs throughout the country.
Now, is this the original building?
Yes, actually, they acquired this building in 1940. So the YWCA Glendale was formed in 1926, and they met in different places as a women's organization, growing the building. They bought this particular piece of property. What's interesting about this address, we're at 735 East Lexington Drive off of Glendale Avenue in Glendale, but this is 3 buildings that over about 15 years ended up being built consecutively.
Oh, wow.
So we are right now sitting in the oldest part of the building. This is the one in which the doors opened in 1940. We have a lovely welcome center in which we have a photo of the women, the doors opening.
Which we will see in a little bit.
Yes. So that was 1940. The second building, which actually right now houses Head Start, and we're able to serve, Head Start is a renter of ours, but we have about 130 pre-K children come in here every single day. So we have an AM shift and a PM shift, and they occupy the middle part of the building. And then there's a third part of the building, there's actually kind of a third A and B, because there was a third part of the building that was erected in 1950s, which right now houses a basketball court, which actually the Sparks right now, we had a meeting this morning with the Sparks and looking at how we're developing a California Women's League, a basketball team with the YWCA, with the Sparks, and looking at our community and women who play basketball to use that space. But we have renters now for that. And then the extension of that B part is we have one of the first in Southern California, a natatorium. And I didn't know.
What is that?
Right. And when I came here, I said, a natatorium, what is that? So I had to look up in the dictionary what that meant. It means a building that was erected specifically to house a pool.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we have an indoor pool, which in our community is uncommon to have an indoor pool. But that means that we are a great place to go, especially during summer, because you don't have to worry about shade. You've got it already.
Right.
But what's neat about our pool currently is, for the last year or so, we have been heavily immersed in what's called the Glendale Healthier Community Coalition. And that is it's a coalition that really is very inspiring, because it was birthed out of the hospitals in our community. And we have Glendale Adventist, Verdugo Hills, and Glendale Memorial. And they came together a little over 20 years ago or thereabouts, and started to look at our community and where there was gaps in services when it came to overall well-being and healthcare. And they were able to assess at that time, at their early stages, right, they were able to assess the need primarily for an underinsured and underserved children's population for medical and dental and mental health. As a result, Glendale Healthy Kids was born. So the parent to Glendale Healthy Kids is the Glendale Healthier Community Coalition.
And I believe that's in your facility also, they rent out.
Yes, and so that's what I was going to say, that also at that other end of the building now, Glendale Healthy Kids is in our building using our space, and they work with the school district to identify those children in our community that are in need of medical, dental, and they were able to offer mental health at one time. They're hoping that they will again. But that's part of what we all face with budgetary cuts.
Right. Does YWCA and YMCA, because I know a lot of people, when we say YWCA, they say YMCA, and I'm like, no, YWCA. Do you have any affiliation with them? I mean,
No.
do you work together, or it's a totally separate identity?
When we talk to YMCA, we say we're a brother and sister. So while in many ways we were born of the YWCA, and the YMCA nationally came first too, before the YWCA did. So we look at them as a partner and a collaborator, and we will look in ways in the future in which we can have a likely fit. If there's a shared sense of purpose, then it would be wonderful to collaborate. One of the things that we're looking at developing is what we can do for healthy lifestyles. YMCA has been working on that for a long time, whereas the YWCA, where people think automatically, oh, you're the YMCA, and we need to clarify, while we were based around a lot of facilities throughout the country because we were housing women, part of this history here is what this particular building did was housed women in the 1940s, and this was a building which was used to serve war refugees, homeless population, to be providing those support services, developing Y programs for our teens.
Wow.
And what I'll show you is...
So it was very instrumental
it was.
for women.
It was. And this particular location, so our offices upstairs, our administrative offices, were dorm rooms for the women during that time. So as we continue to develop what we can for healthy lifestyle, we can look at the YMCA as a wonderful collaborator in which we could do something, whether it comes to mitigating what we are calling now diabetes in our community.
Mm-hmm.
That is the epidemic of children having diabetes as a result of obesity. And if, we think about doing, let's say, a 5K, well, a likely partner would be the YMCA because those fit well together. But the YWCA started to emphasize more of social justice, support, empowerment services for women and children. So that's been more than recreational, that they've taken off and have a history of that.
YWCA has numerous programs. Could you give us a list of some of the programs and a little bit of an explanation? I know there is a lot. Mm-hmm. We were talking about LA Sparks participating, and I think they're going to be doing some practicing here in Glendale in your facility. I know that we were talking about all the programs that YWCA has. I did want to mention that the basketball, the Los Angeles Sparks, as you mentioned, I do want to mention to all our viewers again that on August 13th, Los Angeles Sparks will be playing against Chicago. It's an Armenian celebration night, which our wonderful friend, mutual friend, Ramela, has asked the Los Angeles Sparks to do an Armenian celebration night. During the celebration, there will be a halftime where we will be viewing and seeing a wonderful dance group that I don't know if you have already seen, Lisa, but it's sensational. It's the Givorkian Dance Academy that will be performing during halftime, along with some other surprises that we have for you that we will not mention because it is a surprise and we want everyone to be there. So please, on August 13th, we would love to all see you at the Los Angeles Staples Center. So I urge everyone to please come in. I'm sure, Lisa, are you going to be there?
I'm going to be there. My whole family is going to be there. And we're so thrilled that the Sparks extended an invitation to us this morning to have court time, YWCA court time during that event as well. So as we form this basketball league that I think it will start on July 20th, then we're hoping to capture some of our women that will go down there and have some court time. So it's going to be a great event.
It will be.
I'm thrilled. So we'll be there.
It's going to be fun, especially for kids and
Yes.
family time. You know,
Yes.
everything that we do with kids and the foundation that we put, you know, and spending time with them and the quality time, especially also to promote and also for us as Armenian, to have the Los Angeles Sparks to do something like this. It's amazing, and it is very touching for us, and it's a really big step up. So I do want to say thank you to Ramela because, you know, she actually visioned it and put the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Going back to YWCA, could you please tell us again, what programs are there? I know you have a wonderful program for domestic violence.
Right.
We do have a hotline. You do have a hotline, which we will be going to a commercial. And when we do come back, I do want to talk about the domestic violence and the other programs. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back with Lisa, and we're going to be talking a little bit about all your programs, especially we're going to have another segment on domestic violence and some of your other programs, because I do believe that there are wonderful programs that you have at YWCA that could help and be very essential to our community, being in Glendale and Burbank. So one question I do have that has come across for a lot of people, if they're living in Pasadena, Burbank, you know, North Hollywood, are they allowed to come to Glendale and use the facilities?
Right.
Or is it only Glendale community residents?
No. We are a community service provider. So we open our doors to anybody who, if they want to use the facility, if they're coming for our programming. Specific programs, there will be a little bit of difference when it comes to our services.
Right.
So for instance, our hallmark program is the Domestic Violence Project. And that was started a little over 30 years ago here. And we provide program services in our building. So we have case management. We have a current caseload of about 200 women, a little over 400 children. But we provide a large service area. So if there's somebody in Eagle Rock, La Crescenta, the Foothills, Tujunga, Silver Lake, and so on, they can come to this facility and get programming and services. We also have a confidential shelter in which it's a 45-day emergency shelter for women and children. So those women and children in need of fleeing from their abuser in an immediate situation, we're able to work with them. We're able to put them into the shelter and provide for them food, clothing, case management, and really transition them into a better life, basically. So it's our hallmark program, and we have a wide geographic location. And we have a hotline number also that we house at the shelter.
And that was during the commercial that we were just talking about.
Absolutely.